Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the tibia bone. Okay. So this is the tibia bone. The tibia bone is the second largest bone on our body, and it is present on the medial side of the leg. It is the preaxial bone which is homologous to the radius of the upper limb and which transmits the body weight from femur to the foot. Okay. This is about the introduction regarding tibia bone. Next, coming to the what are the parts? As all of you know, it is a long bone. For a long bone, you will have the upper end and lower end, and intervening shaft is there. Okay. For tibia also will have the upper end, lower end, and intervening shaft is there. Okay. If you see the upper limb, we will have it is expanded. Okay. It is expanded and it has the two condyles. Okay, medial condyle and the lateral condyle. Okay, and we will have the tibial tuberosity. Okay, tibial tuberosity, and if you see the shaft, we will have the three borders: anterior border, medial border, and the lateral border. Okay, three borders: anterior border, medial border, and the lateral border, and three surfaces: medial surface, lateral surface, and posterior surface. Okay. And if you see the lower end, okay, if you see the lower end, inferior medially, this lower end is expanded downwards as the medial malleolus. Okay, if you see the lower end, inferior medially it is expanded downwards as a medial malleolus. Okay, these are the parts of the tibia. Okay, if you see the upper end, we will have the condyles, tibial tuberosity. In shaft, we will have the three borders: anterior border, medial border, and the lateral border, and three surfaces. Okay, medial surface, lateral surface, and posterior surface. And if you see the lower end, we will have the medial malleolus and the medial side. Okay. Next, coming to the anatomical position and side determination of the tibia. Okay. So the side of the tibia is determined by holding the tibia in such a way that the upper expanded part, the condyles, okay, the condyles should be on upper side, okay, should be on faces superiorly, okay, and then we will have this tibial tuberosity and anterior border, okay, tibial tuberosity and anterior border should be faces anteriorly, and the most important thing is that it is the medial malleolus, okay, the medial malleolus should be on medial side. The medial malleolus is on medial side. Okay. So, by these features, I am saying this is right tibia. Okay. The upper expanded area and these articular surfaces. The condyle should be faces upwards, and the tibial tuberosity anterior part should be faces anteriorly. Medial malleolus should be on medial side. Okay. Next, coming to the attachments of this upper end of the tibia. If you see here, this upper end is expanded. So now coming to the attachments and parts of this tibia. Okay. If you see the upper end of this tibia, the upper end is expanded. It is expanded and bears two condyles, medial condyle and the lateral condyles. The medial condyle is somewhat larger than the lateral condyle. Okay, the medial condyle is somewhat larger than the lateral condyle. Okay, for medial condyle we will have the five surfaces. You can see here, this is the superior surface. Superior surface, we will have the anterior surface. Okay, anterior surface and lateral surface, and we will have the posterior surface. Okay, superior surface, anterior surface, medial surface, and posterior surface. Okay, if you see the superior surface, it is articulates with the medial condyle of the femur. Okay, if you see this articular surface, centrally we will have the concave area. Okay, centrally we will have it is concave, and peripherally it is flat. Okay, peripherally it is flat. Okay, this peripheral part is covered by the fibrocartilaginous plate. It is called as medial meniscus. Okay, medial meniscus. Okay, central part is deep and it is concave, and peripheral part is flat. It is covered by the fibrocartilaginous plate, that is medial meniscus. Okay, that is about the superior surface. Okay. Next, coming to the posterior surface. If you see the posterior surface, here you will have the one depression, groove. Okay, this groove is for the insertion of the semimembranosus. Okay, this groove is for the insertion for the tendon of semimembranosus. Okay, along the posterior surface. And if you see the anterior surface and the medial surface, you can see so many vascular foramens. Okay, you can see the vascular foramens, and the surface gives attachment for the medial patellar retinaculum. Okay, medial patellar retinaculum. Okay, that is about the medial condyle. Okay, for medial condyle we will have the superior surface, posterior surface, anterior surface, medial surface. Superior surface is at the central, it is depressed and it is concave. Peripherally we will have the medial meniscus. Posteriorly we will have the groove for the tendon of semimembranosus, and anteriorly and the medially we will have so many vascular foramens, and the surface gives attachment for the medial patellar retinaculum. Next, coming to the lateral condyle. Here you can see the lateral condyle is, the superior surface is somewhat circular when compared to the medial condyle. It is oval. Here it is circular in shape. The superior surface, the articular surface is circular in shape. Here also centrally we will have the concave depressed area is there, and peripherally we will have the flat area is there. Okay, peripherally we will have the flat area is there. Okay, this peripheral flat area is covered by the fibrocartilaginous plate. It is called as lateral meniscus. Okay, lateral meniscus. Okay, so the superior surface articulates with the lateral condyle of the femur. Okay, and next, coming to the posterior surface. Okay, posterior surface. Okay, like the medial condyle, here also we will have the 5 surfaces, that is the superior surface, anterior surface, lateral surface, and posterior surface. Okay, if you see the posterior surface, here we will have the one facet is present. Okay, this is for the fibula. Okay, this facet is articulates with the head of the fibula. Okay, this facet on the posterior surface, it is articulates with the head of the fibula. Okay, and if you see between these facet for the fibula and the superior margin of this articular surface, we will have the one groove. Okay, this groove is for the tendon of popliteus. Okay, this is for the tendon of popliteus. Okay, and next, coming to if you see the anterior surface and the lateral surface, here also we will have so many foramens are there. Okay, so many foramens are there. These foramens and this surface gives attachments for the lateral patellar retinaculum. Lateral patellar retinaculum. Along with that, if you see the anterior surface very closely, here we can have the one facet is present. Okay, we will have the one groove is present. This is for the attachments of iliotibial tract. Okay, this is for the attachment of iliotibial tract. Okay, so if you see the lateral condyle, superiorly we will have this articular surface. Okay, centrally we will have the deep concave area. Peripherally we will have the flat area is there. Okay, above this flat area we will have the fibrocartilaginous plate, that is the lateral meniscus, and posteriorly we will have the inferiorly we will have the facet for the fibula. Just medial to this facet we will have the groove for the popliteus tendon. Okay, and then if you see the lateral surface and the anterior surface and lateral surface, here we will have the one notch is present. This is for the iliotibial tract, attachment for the iliotibial tract, and the remaining surface of the anterior and the lateral surfaces gives attachment for the lateral patellar retinaculum. That is about this medial condyle and the lateral condyle. Okay, and if next coming to the intercondylar area, if you see the very closely between these two condyles, you will have the intercondylar area is present. Okay, between the two condyles we will have the intercondylar area is present. Okay, and if you see here, the intercondylar area centrally it is narrow. Okay, centrally it is narrow, and here we will have the projection. This projected area at the center is called as intercondylar eminence. Intercondylar eminence. This central area is called as intercondylar eminence, and here we will have the medial and lateral condylar tubercles are present. Okay, medial and lateral tubercles are present at the intercondylar eminence. Okay, and next, if you see this intercondylar area, okay, so this is the from the superior surface, the intercondylar area. So attachments from the anterior to posterior side. So from anterior to posterior, we will have the first we will have the anterior horn of medial lemniscus. Okay, anterior horn of medial lemniscus. Then we will have the anterior cruciate ligament. Anterior cruciate ligament. Then we will have the anterior horn of lateral lemniscus. Okay, then we will have the posterior horn of lateral lemniscus there, and then we will have the posterior horn of medial lemniscus is there. The posteriorly we will have the posterior cruciate ligament is there. Okay, so the attachments on the intercondylar area from anterior to posterior, these are first anterior horn of medial lemniscus, then we will have the anterior cruciate ligament, then we will have the anterior horn of lateral lemniscus, then we will have the posterior horn of the lateral lemniscus, then we will have the posterior horn of medial lemniscus, then posterior cruciate ligaments. So these are the attachments along the intercondylar area from anterior to posterior side. Okay, you can remember like this. The mnemonic is Medical College of Lucknow, then Lucknow Medical College. So M for it represents the anterior horn of medial lemniscus, C for anterior cruciate ligament, L for anterior horn of the lateral lemniscus, again L for posterior horn of lateral lemniscus, M for again posterior horn for the medial lemniscus, C for posterior cruciate ligament. Okay, these are the attachments along the intercondylar area. Okay, next coming to the tibial tuberosity. Okay, the tibial tuberosity. Okay, tibial tuberosity is nothing but it is the point at the apex of the rough triangular area which is present along the anterior surface of the upper end. Okay, it is the projection at the apex of rough triangular area which is present along the anterior surface of the upper end of the tibia. Okay, if you see that this tibial tuberosity, we will have the smooth upper part and rough lower part. Okay, smooth upper part and rough lower part. Okay, this rough lower part gives attachment for the ligamentum patella. Okay, ligamentum patella. Here the smooth part is, here we will have the bursa, that is for the subpatellar bursa. Okay, subpatellar bursa, that is about the tibial tuberosity. The tibial tuberosity mainly gives attachment for the ligamentum patella. Okay, ligamentum patella, that is about the upper end. Okay, in the upper end we will have the medial condyle, lateral condyle, we will have the tibial tuberosity. Okay, then if you see the intervening shaft, we will have the anterior border. Okay, anterior border. So the anterior border is which is extends from this tibial tuberosity to the anterior border of the medial malleolus. Okay, anterior border of the medial malleolus. This is medial malleolus now. So for the anterior border is extends from the tibial tuberosity to the anterior border of the medial malleolus, and this is sharp. Okay, it is the sharpest border and it have the sinus pores. Okay, and it have the sinus pores. Okay, and it is subcutaneous. Okay, and it is subcutaneous. Okay, and next coming to the medial border. Okay, the medial border. Okay, the medial border. The medial border is which is extends from the lower end of medial condyle to the posterior border of the medial malleolus. Posterior border of the medial malleolus. This is the medial border. Okay. Along the posterior surface we will have the one line, oblique line, that is the soleal line. This soleal line crosses the medial border at the junction of upper 1/3, lower 2/3 of the medial border of the tibia. Okay, this soleal line crosses the medial border at the junction of upper 1/3 and lower 2/3 of the medial border of the tibia. Okay, and if you see the lateral border, okay, if you see the lateral border, it is begins from the just below the iliotibial tract. Okay, attachment for the iliotibial tract to the below to the from here to the anterior border of the this fibular notch. Okay, anterior border of the fibular notch to the lateral condyle, just below the this facet for the head of the fibula. Okay, from here to the this lateral border is up to the anterior border of the fibular notch. Anterior border of the fibular notch. Okay, this is the lateral border. This lateral border is also called as interosseous border because it is gives attachment for the interosseous membrane which is present between the fibula and the tibia. Okay, that's why this lateral border is also called as interosseous border. Okay, interosseous border from the below the facet to the anterior border of the fibular notch. Okay, that is about the lateral border. Okay, next coming to the surfaces. Okay, so between this anterior border and the medial border we will have the medial surface. Okay, which is faces anteromedially. Okay, and it is subcutaneous only. And it is subcutaneous only. And if you see the along the medial surface, just below the upper end here. Okay, here it gives. Now I am drawing the diagram here only, just for rough purpose. I am drawing the medial. So if you see, for examples, if you imagine, this is medial border. Okay, this is tibial tuberosity, this is anterior border. Okay, if you see on the medial surface at the upper end we will have the three muscles are inserted here. These are from before backwards, semi tendinosus and gracilis and sartorius. Okay, along this medial surface at the upper end, this surface gives attachment for the three muscles. Okay, these are semitendinosus, gracilis and sartorius. Okay, these three muscles act as a gyropes. They act as gyropes for the hip joint. Okay, for the hip joint, these three muscles act as a gyropes. Okay, all of you know sartorius is from the anterior compartment of thigh muscle. Gracilis is from the adductor compartment, that is medial side of thigh. Semitendinosus is from the posterior compartment of thigh. So these three act as a gyropes for this hip joint. Okay. That is about the medial surface. The remaining surface is subcutaneous only. Okay. Next coming to the lateral surface. Okay, the lateral surface. The lateral surface, the upper 2/3 of these lateral surfaces gives origin for the tibialis anterior muscle. Okay, the upper 2/3 of these lateral surfaces gives origin for the tibialis anterior muscle. Okay, tibialis anterior muscle. And if you see the lower end, if you see the lower part of this lateral surface, it is crossed by the 6 structures. Okay, from medial to lateral, it is crossed by the 6 structures. These are, okay, so this is medial surface, is it now? So this is lateral surface. Okay, the upper 2/3 of this lateral surfaces gives origin for the tibialis anterior muscle, and this lower 1/3, okay, this lower 1/3 gives attachments from the medial. This is lateral side. Okay, from medial to lateral we will have the tendon of tibialis anterior, then we will have the tendon of extensor hallucis longus, then we will have the anterior tibial artery, then we will have the deep peroneal nerve, then we will have the tendon of extensor digitorum longus, then we will have the tendon of peroneus tertius. Okay, I am repeating again. The lower 1/3 of this lateral surface gives attachments from medial to lateral side. The first structure is tendon of tibialis anterior, then we will have the tendon of extensor hallucis longus, then for the anterior tibial artery, then we will have the deep peroneal nerve, then extensor digitorum longus and peroneus tertius. Okay, you can remember like tall Himalayas are never dry places. Okay, tall Himalayas are never dry places. So T for tibialis anterior, H for extensor hallucis longus, A for anterior tibial artery, N for deep peroneal nerve, D for extensor digitorum longus, and P for peroneus tertius. Okay, so these are the structures which are related to the lower end of the, lower surface of this lateral surface of the tibia from medial to lateral side. Okay, next coming to this posterior surface. Okay, so the posterior surface is which is present between this lateral border and the medial border. Okay, lateral border and the medial border. Okay, all this is the posterior surface. Okay, all this is the posterior surface. If you see the posterior surface, in the upper 1/3 we will have an oblique line is there, oblique bony ridge is there. This line is called as soleal line. Okay, this line is soleal line. Okay, so above the soleal line, the surface gives insertion for the popliteus muscle. Okay, popliteus muscle. Okay, below this line, the surface is divided into medial and lateral areas by the one vertical line. You can see this vertical line. Okay, vertical line is there. This vertical line divides this lower surface into medial and the lateral surfaces. Okay, medial and lateral parts. Okay. So here I am drawing the posterior surface of the tibia. Okay. The posterior surface of the tibia. So here we will have the soleal line. Okay, this is medial side and this is lateral side. Along the posterior surface we will have the one oblique ridge. It is called as soleal line. Above the soleal line, this surface, posterior surface gives insertion for the popliteus muscle, and below this line this surface is divided by one vertical line into medial half and lateral half. Okay, and next coming to the what are the attachments along the this soleal line. Okay, the attachments along this soleal line from above to below: fascia covering the popliteus, fascia covering the soleus and origin of soleus muscle, and the deep fascia of the leg. Okay, these are the four attachments along this soleal line. Okay, so from above downwards these are the fascia covering the popliteus, fascia covering the soleus muscle, and then origin for the soleus muscle, and then deep fascia of the leg. Okay, and if you see below this surface, okay, if you see below this line, it is divided by vertical line into medial half and lateral half. Now, so from the medial half we will have the origin for the flexor digitorum longus, flexor digitorum longus. Okay, we will have the origin for the flexor digitorum longus muscle. From the lateral side we will have the tibialis posterior muscle is originated from here. Tibialis posterior. Okay, tibialis is posterior is originated from the lateral part of this surface. Okay, and if you see that this along the lower end of this surface, here also from medial to lateral we will have the from neurovascular structures are attached, passes here. These are from medial to lateral: tendon of tibialis posterior, and then we will have the flexor digitorum longus. Okay, flexor digitorum longus tendon, flexor hallucis longus, and then we will have the posterior tibial artery, then we will have the tibial nerve, then we will have the flexor digitorum longus. Okay, flexor digitorum longus tendon. Okay, first we will have the tibialis posterior, then we will have the flexor hallucis longus, then we will have the posterior tibial artery, then we will have the tibial nerve, then we will have the flexor digitorum longus tendon is passes here. Okay, that is these are the structures which are related to this lower end of this surface. Next, coming to this lower end of this femur, lower end of the tibia. Okay, if you see that this lower end, here also we will have the anterior surface, lateral surface, medial surface, inferior surface, and posterior surface is there. Okay, if you see along the medial side, inferior medially we will have the projection that is called as medial malleolus, and if you see along the lateral surface, here we will have the triangular area is there. Okay, it is called as fibular notch, okay, and if you see along the posterior surface you will have the groove. Okay, this is for this groove is gives passage for the tendon of tibialis posterior. Okay, and then if you see the inferior surface, it is articulates with the upper articular surface of the talus. Okay, articular surface of the talus. And if you see the lateral surface of this medial malleolus, okay, we will have the comma shaped facet is there. It is articulates with the medial surface of the talus. Okay, and the tip of the medial malleolus gives attachment for the deltoid ligament. Okay, gives attachment for the deltoid ligament, and the groove which is present on the posterior surface, the medial margin of this posterior surface, this groove. Okay, the medial margin of this groove gives attachment the flexor retinaculum of the ankle. Okay, flexor retinaculum of the ankle gives attachment. Okay, So that is about the lower end of this tibia. Next, coming to the ossification of this tibia. The tibia is ossified from the 3 ossification centers, 1 primary and 2 secondary centers. 1 primary center for the shaft, okay, which is appears at the 7th week of intrauterine life, okay, and the primary ossification, secondary ossification center for the upper end of the tibia is which appears just before birth or after birth, and it is fuses with the shaft at the age of 20 year, and secondary ossification center for the lower end is appears at the second year of the age, and it is fuses with the shaft at the 18th year. And this is about the ossification of this tibia. And coming to the applied aspects of the tibia, these are osteomyelitis of the tibia. The osteomyelitis is most common at the upper end of the tibia, and because of the low blood supply between the upper 2/3 and lower 1/3 of the junction of the shaft, the fractures at the upper 1/3 junction of the upper 1/3, lower 2/3 fractures leads to non-union or malunion. Okay, so that is about the tibia.